Okay, so let's call all of these numbers all at once.
Really?
Yep. 1,
7.
5,
No, stop.
2,
Stop.
7.
Call
2.
Whitmore.
We're sorry, your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again. This is a recording.
Bitten Whitmore. Call her.
I know.
Then why won't you?
To play around with you. Ow! Roar!
You stop and I'll stop.
You seriously stop hitting me.
Brother abuse.
If you're selling something, hang up right now. I got an air horn in my hand that could deafen a dinosaur, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Wow! Who
no,
got a
please, I'm not
perv?
selling anything. Believe me. Is this Vivian Whitmore?
Maybe
Yeah.
it is, maybe it isn't. You got exactly 5 seconds to state your business.
My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to ask you some questions.
Oh, right. The Moon Lake Park Ranger said you might call, but you have to talk fast. An old friend of mine is flying in today from Florida, and when I say old, I mean old, as in 5 years older than I am. Don't bother trying to do the math, sweet stuff, you'll hurt yourself. So, that ranger fella said you found an old picture of me.
It was of you and Mickey Malone. Do you remember him?
Of course I remember him. I remember everything about that time of my life. It was the roaring 20s, for crying out loud. One of the most exciting decades in American history.
You can say that again.
Because I've got a few years on most people doesn't mean my brain's turned to tapioca, sweet stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
Mickey and I dated for 5 years. Oh, I knew what he was, and I didn't approve, believe you me. But I was young, and we got along so well, and he was so considerate. He always kept birch beer on tap at that speakeasy of his just for me.
Do you know anything about the safe that's in the cellar of his house at Moon Lake?
You must be talking about the wall safe. That was Willie's. He was a guy who worked for Mickey.
Did all Malone's employees have their own safes?
Not hardly. Mickey treated most of his employees like dirt, but not Willie. He honestly liked Willie, trusted him. And when Willie decided he wanted his own safe, Mickey said, "What the hey?" No one knew the combination, not even Mickey. Mostly because Willie was constantly changing it. He was a little paranoid and superstitious. Well, as I recall, he picked the most unlucky number he could think of and used that for the combination. He called it a reverse jinx.
Unlucky number? Like what?
Oh, like the date that something bad happened, like when the stock market crashed, or when somebody died, or the address of a house that caught fire.
Oh, that's how we're
the
supposed to
phone
find
number
out.
of the police, that sort of thing.
What can you tell me about Malone's speakeasy?
It was in the basement, right there at Moon Lake. Feds never knew about it, but everybody who was anybody on the East Coast back then, actors, musicians, bankers, politicians, they knew. You weren't big time unless you'd made at least one trip to Moon Lake Mickey's.
That's weird. I'm staying in his old house on Moon Lake, and I haven't seen any sign of a speakeasy.
Course you haven't. You're not supposed to. Only Mickey and Willie knew how to get into the speakeasy from the house. The rest of us had to go in and out the regular way, through the cemetery.
The cemetery?
The cemetery?
There was a lock hidden in one of the tombstones in that little cemetery behind the house.
Wow.
You needed a key to unlock it, and when you did, stairs would appear that led to the speakeasy.
That Mickey. He has a brain for those sort of things.
Do you have any idea how to get into Malone's speakeasy from the house?
I sure don't. That saloon was built using 2 main ingredients, concrete and secrecy. Mickey always bragged that nobody could get in unless he wanted them in, and I do believe he was right. But I'll tell you what, if you sent me that picture of me and Mickey, I'll send you my key.
The key to the tombstone? You still have it?
It's in the bottom of my jewelry box. I've come this close to throwing it out 100 times, but it's so small and the memories it brings back are so big. Well, I just couldn't, as a joke. Mickey had a tombstone made with the name of this federal agent who had it out for him inscribed on it. That's the one the key unlocks.
That's funny.
William Akers, the guy you call Willie. He wrote about looking for the gold that Malone had supposedly buried on his property at Moon Lake. Do you know anything about that?
The hole in the floor gold heist. Well, I'll be darned.
So it's true? He did bury gold on his property?
Truth be told, when Mickey told me he was the one who pulled off that heist and that he'd buried 20 gold bars at Moon Lake, I didn't believe him. I thought he was making it up. See, Mickey and I were on the outs by then. I thought he was just trying to entice me to come back. But if he told Willie the same thing, maybe there's something to the story after all.
Do you have any idea where he might have hidden it?
Afraid not. Mickey was so secretive that the men who completed his house at Moon Lake were not only forbidden to talk about the work they'd done, but they were ordered to leave the state for good, or else.
Wow.
I think he mentioned a map. Yes. He said he was making a treasure map and that... the dogs. Something about those dogs of his.
The dogs will lead the way?
He was always saying that. In fact, I'm pretty sure he had it engraved on his tombstone. Think, Viv, think. He said he was making a treasure map and that he was also having paintings done of each dog. He made it sound like one thing had something to do with the other, like he was giving me some big important clue. But I just figured he was playing games, trying to lure me back with mystery and intrigue. I told him to buzz off.
Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't have.
Where are those
Did he
paintings?
say what he was going to do with the paintings?
He said he was going to hang them in the speakeasy, and I'm sure that's precisely what he did.
Ooh, we're onto it.
Can you remember anything about Malone's dogs that might suggest where he hid the gold?
I stayed away from his dogs. They made me nervous, always jumping around, barking at this or that. The only one I liked was, what was his name?
Iggy?
Iggy. I liked Iggy because he was nice and quiet. He just lay on the porch all day and didn't make a peep.
It's been fun talking to you.
Absolutely, positively.
Wow.
Okay.
That
What's
went...
or that picture?
Yeah, really fast. So as we're crossing the lake... Yeah, enough with that joke. I think we're reaching the end of the mystery.
Hello again, Miss Drew. Am I
You're
in
not
for another
authority.
interrogation?
I'd like to mail this photo to the woman in Las Vegas. Can you do that for me?
As always, I'm here to serve, Miss Drew. Just give it to me and I'll take care of it. I'm sure she'll be very pleased to get this back.
Did your grandfather ever find any gold on Malone's property?
If he did, he never spent it. He wasn't poor when he died, but he certainly wasn't rich.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here.
Doggy?
No doggy. Alright,
Wait
so...
a second. No, that's not the right breed. You thought he was the ghost dog guy, but it's not the right breed.
No, it's not. That is not a... Where was it? Rottweiler. That is not a Rottweiler. I know what Rottweilers look like, and that was not a Rottweiler. Rottweiler. Yeah, I know.
Or this.
Or that, yeah.
I drew a picture of the animation.
But I didn't use this picture, I'm just sorry to say. I didn't know you finished.
I did.
Let's try these other numbers.
Wait. Do that Easter egg you were talking about.
The Easter egg?
Yeah.
Sure. I'll do that in a separate episode.
Hello?
Bess, it's Nancy.
I know that. What's going on?
Get this. It turns out that Jeff Akers will be one happy park ranger if Sally sells her Moon Lake property back to the bank, and they wind up selling it to the Parks Department.
You think he might be responsible for all this ghost dog stuff?
He has a motive and he has a dog, although it doesn't look at all like the dogs that have been scaring Sally.
But it shows he knows something about dogs. Better pull out your suspect list and pencil him in, Nan.
I still say you guys should lighten up on him.
I think somebody may have deliberately put poison down Sally's well.
Yikes! What makes you think that?
The Department of Health found unusually high levels of arsenic in the water sample I sent them.
Somebody's trying to poison you with arsenic?
They said that?
It's apparently not unusual to find some arsenic in well water.
So somebody could be trying to poison you.
But you don't know for sure.
Right, and they may not be trying to poison anybody. They may want to contaminate the well just enough to force Sally to either go to the expense of digging a new one or forget the whole thing and leave.
And because arsenic is found naturally in well water anyway, you may never know for sure. Bummer.
I found the coolest old newspaper. It's from 1927, and on the front page is an article about Mickey Malone and a man named William Akers.
Akers? Any relation to Park Ranger Jeff Akers?
When I asked, Jeff Akers said that it was just a huge unfortunate coincidence. According to the paper, William Akers was Mickey Malone's most trusted employee, his #1 go-to guy.
Where'd you find it?
You know how I always seem to wind up in houses with secret passageways?
Sometimes I think they follow you around.
Well, I found these hidden stairs leading from the living room into the cellar.
What's down there?
That's what's weird. The stairs led down into this empty space. There's some kind of safe in the wall and a set of stairs leading to a door that goes outside, but that was it.
Why would Malone bother hiding a staircase if it didn't go somewhere important?
Hey, newsflash. I think I know why somebody wants to scare Sally off her property, and it has nothing to do with birds, parks, or artifacts.
So what does it have to do with?
Gold, as in 600 pounds of gold bullion.
Come on, Nancy, tell us everything. Gold is one of my favorite subjects.
Well, I found William Akers' journal, who, it turns out, was our friendly park ranger's grandfather.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Not as interesting as 600 pounds of gold. Go on, Nancy.
Have you ever heard of the hole-in-the-floor gold heist?
I've heard of the hole-in-the-wall gang.
Well, according to Akers' journal, in 1931, somebody stole a shipment of gold bars in broad daylight by dropping them through a hole in the floor of a moving train.
Let me guess. The thieves were never caught, and the gold was never found.
You got it. According to Akers, Malone masterminded the whole thing, and he hid the gold right here on his Moon Lake property.
You think it's still there? It must be. Like you said, Nancy, that would explain why somebody wants Sally, and now you, out of there so bad.
I also found a map with the inscription, "The dogs will lead the way."
You found a treasure map? My gosh, Nancy. Secret passageways, buried treasure? You're like a magnet for that stuff. The dogs will lead the way to what?
The gold.
According to the journal, Malone left Akers the map and said it would show him where the gold was, but all it has on it is that inscription and some landmarks.
What kind of landmarks?
The house, the shoreline, some rocks in the lake, the pump, the cemetery, and it's crisscrossed with lines like a grid.
A grid? Sounds like precise locations are involved.
Malone's girlfriend, Vivian, said that Malone hired an artist to do paintings of his dogs right around the time he was bragging about creating a map that would lead to his gold.
Have you seen the paintings?
They're not in the house, so either they're in the speakeasy, which I still haven't gotten into, or they're long gone.
Keep looking for them, Nan. If they were done at the same time as that map, they could contain some kind of clue.
I could sure use a nice big hint right about now.
Get outside and find that bait.
You can do it, Nancy. I sure as heck couldn't. But I know you can.
Bye, you guys.
See ya. Bye.
Alright, we need to call Sally.
Oh, I get it. Find that bait. As in find the worms.
Oh.
Oh, shit. Now you're getting to where I
Hello?
am.
Hey, Sally, it's
This is
Nancy.
bad.
Nancy, hi. How's it going?
I'm afraid I have some bad news. I had your well water tested, and according to the health department, it contains a very high level of arsenic.
Arsenic? Somebody poisoned my well?
Maybe, maybe not. The health department is running more tests. When you bought the house, did anyone mention a problem with the well?
No. And it doesn't matter. I love that house, and I am going to live in it. If that well's bad, I'll just dig another one. At least I will when I know for sure why bad things keep happening there. You are going to figure that out, right, Nancy?
You bet I am.
I knew I could count on you.
Were you ever told that Mickey Malone supposedly buried a small fortune in gold bullion somewhere on your property and that it has yet to be found?
Is this a joke?
Malone supposedly stole a bunch of gold bars off a train and buried them at Moon Lake. You never heard about that?
No. Could it be true?
Well, if somebody thinks it's true, that may be the reason they're trying to frighten you off your property.
How did you hear about it?
I found the journal of a man named William Akers in a safe in your cellar. He was one of Malone's closest associates. Ever hear of him?
Never.
In the paperwork that you had to wade through when you bought this property, do you recall ever coming across the name Vivian Whitmore?
No, I sure don't. Who's she?
A close friend of Mickey Malone's, or so it would seem.
Her name wasn't anywhere on the deed. I know that.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
How long until the episode's done? So we can start the next.
I may do some cutting,
Hello?
guys.
Hey, Frank, it's Nancy. Got a minute?
You bet. Hang on. Pick up. It's Nancy. We were going to head to the park and shoot some hoops, but we can't. Want to know why?
Why?
Because it's raining.
And you just washed your car? Ouch.
I told you it was going to rain. You always say that. So what have you got?
I managed to get in touch with someone who used to be Malone's girlfriend. She says there's a speakeasy beneath Sally's house.
But you haven't been in it yet?
No, Vivian, that's her name. She's going to send me her key. I'm not even going to tell you what the key unlocks.
So you could literally be sitting on top of a speakeasy? Cool. How do you think your suspects would feel if that turns out to be the case?
Emily Griffin would no doubt be thrilled at the chance to collect artifacts on dry land for once.
But it would be easier to collect them if no one else knew about the speakeasy. So if she somehow knows about it and figures you and Sally don't...
She'd have a motive for trying to scare us off the property.
In other words, you're right back where you started. Maybe Emily has a motive, maybe she doesn't. Anything else my genius brother and I can help you with, Nancy?
I'm pretty sure I know why somebody wants Sally out of the Malone house.
So come on, spill.
Apparently, Malone stole a small fortune in gold bars off a train and hid them somewhere on his property here. They've never been found.
How do you know?
One of his employees, a guy named William Akers, kept a journal, which I found and of course read.
Of course. Wait a sec. Did you say William Akers?
Who, as it turns out, was our friendly park ranger's grandfather.
Whoa.
According to his journal, William Akers spent months following each dog around, hoping one of them would lead him to the gold. None ever did.
So they didn't go running off into the woods, never to be seen again after all.
Apparently, they stayed around Malone's house for years. William Akers went to the house every day and fed them until they all finally died.
But according to their tombstones, they all died on the same day.
Those inscriptions were Malone's idea. Akers was just following instructions.
And in all that time, William Akers never found any trace of the gold?
I'm beginning to see why he was superstitious. When it came to luck, he didn't seem to have much. Of the good kind, at least.
What happened to him anyway?
After 9 years of searching for the gold, he finally gave up. About a year after Malone died, he put his journal in the safe, locked it up for the last time, and walked away a broken man.
That's what he gets for hitching his wagon to the star of a gangster.
A second-class gangster at that. If it had been Al Capone, maybe he could have sold his memoirs to Hollywood or something. But a flash in the pan like Mickey Malone? Not a chance.
So if you guys were 600 pounds of gold bullion, where would you be?
Maybe Malone hid it in the speakeasy.
I doubt it. William Akers had 9 years to turn this house and the speakeasy inside out and never found a thing.
Keep the faith, Nancy. If that gold hasn't been found yet, all it means is that nobody as smart as you has looked for it yet.
I seem to be getting nowhere fast. Anybody have any suggestions?
Time to find the rest of the bait.
Just keep your hands away from your mouth and you'll be fine.
Later, guys.
Watch out for dogs. Just watch out, period.
So, that's it for this week's episode. See you guys next time.